Welcome everyone to Talentnomics India's 8th annual Global Leadership Conference. We all are here early in the morning and we must be thinking, why are we here? Why is everyone around us here? Why am I here? So let me start answering the third one first. I am here because I joined Talentnomics India when Ipsita Kathuria, founder of Talentnomics India, was a single woman army. When we started this back in 2015, Ipsita shared the idea with me and I got excited, and there was no looking back since that day. And so I proudly say I've been the first volunteer of Talentnomics India and also its biggest beneficiary, actually. As one of the many lives whose lives Talentnomics has touched, I'm just one of them. And every time I speak up for one of my women team members or for myself, or as I did for my mother in front of my father, I knew Talentnomics India was changing my very DNA as an individual. And I think that's the kind of DNA we want to change at our homes, at our societies, at our workplaces, and of the universe in general to make it an Equiverse, as we like to say it at Talentnomics, which is basically an equal universe. And that's what Talentnomics India and our partner, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, bring to you this morning and for the rest of the day. And we want to really thank our partner, Cass, for supporting us in this incredible journey, which we hope to just build bigger and longer in the years to come. And I think before we really start this, I also want to give a big round, all of us to give a big round of applause to many at Cass and Talentnomics who have spent, not me, who have spent sleepless nights over the last 1 month to put this together. I think after COVID, we realized it takes a lot to put these physical conferences together, so hats off to the team for putting this together. Many of you here have been such an integral part of Talentnomics India's journey. And I, on behalf of both Talentnomics and Cass, would really like to thank you for all the incredible support you have offered and for all our new guests. Welcome to what is going to be a long association with us, I hope. I've attended almost all the conferences. This is our 8th annual Global Leadership Conference. And I think what I like about these conferences is they always provide for very powerful platforms in bringing thought leaders and change makers together to lead this world of change and disruption. And I think COVID has taught us very well what change and disruption means. In fact, on a very personal front, it's slightly painful to stand here and talk because I lost my 56-year-old mother on the day of the Talentnomics conference in 2021. And those of you who were attending the conference knew I had to leave halfway in between. But I think as I stand here today, I get reminded of different kinds and forms of pain we all go through, and it's just that little bit more love, compassion, and empathy, how that can change the world. And that's what women leaders bring naturally to this world. So a big applause for this conference to promote women leadership, to make this world a fairer and a better place to live, a more empathetic and a more compassionate place to be in. 2 years back in 2021, when we did this conference, we coined the term Equiverse, and we really moved from universe to an Equiverse. And in 2022, we started looking at what are the different elements of building this Equiverse, and we looked at 4 Ws, which was work, wealth, well-being, and welfare. And I think we are continuing this dialogue further. And this year, I'm very excited because we are really going to talk about how do we shape this Equiverse now? What are the different elements of building parity at home, in education, at workplace, and in society? So very excited to begin. We have an amazing set of speakers, so I'm not going to take more time. We are also streaming this live, so we have a few participants who are joining us online. Welcome to them as well. And now I will leave you with Anish, who's my co-host for this conference. Just a quick introduction. Most of you would have seen him at one Talentnomics conference or the other, but he was formerly a partner at Vahura Legal Talent Management, and Vahura has been a big supporter for Talentnomics right from day one. And I have been told that Anish just told me last night that he has recently transitioned into, I have to read this out, Global Head of Operations for a stealth mode startup. I have no idea what that means, but he's doing something in Bangalore. Anish, is this the 5th conference that you're hosting or 6th?
6th, I think.
So this is 6th Talentnomics conference that Anish is hosting. So friends, I'm an amateur and he's a pro. So if your lunch break gets cut and all your tea breaks get cut, you know who to complain. I'm the soft one. He's going to be the tough one. So over to you, Anish.
Thanks. Hey, good morning. How is everybody? All right. So, I've been doing this a long time. So Nikita, who's my co-host, is accomplished. She's a great friend. But an engineer, a yoga instructor, an inclusion consultant, while Nikita is only counting how many conferences I host, I am counting the number of countries Nikita has backpacked through. 40? And counting. Fair enough. So, so there is a count here that we keep. And on the ideas of counting, this is the 8th Talentnomics Global Conference. But if you add up the 3 that have happened abroad, we've actually crossed 10. So that's a big number. So a big round of applause. It's very difficult to put these conferences together, and the last 3 years that were virtual were harder for everybody, hard for all of us. And when in 2020, the first virtual conference, when Ipsita got in touch, and I said, it won't work. I mean, you can't do this virtually. But it did, and there were so many people, and it was quite a seamless experience. But I also realized that there is one person in the room who was single-handedly responsible for ending the virtuality of this conference, which is Rabea. She's expressed last night how much death to or by Zoom. Was it to or by, or both? So if Zoom shares are declining, this is on Rabea. More on Rabea later. Well, while Nikita is the host for the conference, I'm just your bouncer. So I will try and keep the conference on time. Some hygiene checks. Let's put our phones on silent. I should do it too. 1 second. Yeah. There are some polls running through the day. We'll put up the poll meter after the next session. You can scan a QR code and start polling. Some of the polls are important. We are going to take dipstick checks on how the sessions were. There may be a poll, Disha is, I think, putting it together about the responsiveness of the MC and how good we were. Please vote well. I need to come back. Or not, I mean, whatever. Then, of course, I want to thank our sponsors, our co-hosts here, Cass, which my more accomplished friend Nikita has just told me that Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, actually, Stiftung is foundation. So I learned something new today. So thank you to Cass, to our platinum sponsors, Brauer Energy and Talentnomics Inc., to our silver partners, Saint Gobain, who you can't see because the glass is so clean. To our valued partner, HDFC Ergo, to our session partners, InfoEdge and Vahura, to our outreach partners, Elenomics, WinPay, LWL and BNI, to our event partners, Shishtaka, Thai Delhi, and to Sanket. I want to call to talk about the aspirations and formally kickstart this conference. I want to call Ipsita. I mean, what can I say apart from has worked at SAIL, has worked at IMF, but is now in her most powerful role as the CEO of Talentnomics, who's putting all of this together. The most satisfying sort of role, and also then Rabea. Can I invite Rabea and Ipsita on stage? Rabea, who we now know is single-handedly killing Zoom, and for everybody, Rabea is based out of Japan, but is moving to Berlin in March. So if you want to visit Japan, you know that you have only till March to do so. So over to Ipsita and Rabea.
Okay. A very, very good morning to everyone and a very warm welcome. And thank you, Anish, and thank you, Nikita, for that really nice introduction to the conference. Yes, it is our 8th conference here in India, and we have done 3 conferences which with Talentnomics Inc., which Neeti sitting somewhere here. There she is, my partner, co-conspirator in starting Talentnomics. We've done 3 conferences in US, and I want to extend a very, very warm welcome to all of you who are here. I know Delhi is not a morning place. I'm told people have their morning tea in Delhi at 9:30, 10. So the fact that so many of you are here is really very heartening for us. I have to share with you that we have more than 550 registrations for this conference. And better part of it is 46% of the registrations were men. And that for me was a really game changer. When we did our first conference way back in 2016 in India, we did it in collaboration with a think tank in India called Equiverse. And that time, we had only 10% of our participants were men. And I was feeling bad a little bit, because we always want to have this dialogue of empowerment, women empowerment, or equitable world with men and women together in the room. But our guest of honor, that point of time, the Honorable Education Minister of India, also remarked on it. He says, why do we see so few men in this room? And since then, I'm happy to note that things have changed. The participation of men in this dialogue has increased. And this is not a conversation. Building an Equiverse where gender equity is the norm is not a conversation that we can have alone with any one gender. So I'm so glad that, again, here we see maybe not 40% men, maybe hopefully more of them will come in, but at least we have men participating in this conference. So why this conference? I think one of the things Nikita and Anish have already talked about, that the whole idea is to touch the lives of people so that we can create ripples of change, that we change the DNA of your thinking. And we have many, many anecdotes, like Nikita mentioned, about how people are changing things in their families, in their household, and in their workspaces as well. In a world which is increasingly moving towards conflict and chaos, where progress and harmony, peace are paramount, achieving gender equity is no more just a moral imperative. It is absolutely necessary for a sustainable world. Let me tell you a story, what we heard from a young girl, high schooler in a West Delhi school. We are doing a research on the perception of gender equity at school level students, school-going students. And this is a senior, I think, girl from the 11th grade. She said, I quote, "In my family, there are definitely societal expectations related to gender. For instance, my mom is expected to take care of all the household chores, while my dad is the primary breadwinner. I'm passionate about pursuing a career in engineering, but I often hear views from elders in my family that the best profession for a woman is to be a teacher in a school, so that they can work and take care of the house and the family. But they don't say such things about my brother's career. I'm determined to follow my dreams. Luckily, my parents do not discriminate between me and my brother's career, but they definitely say things as a girl, you need to learn cooking. And my mother often asks me to help in the kitchen. She doesn't ever ask my brother. I feel bad sometimes, so I tell my brother, why don't you go and help mom in the kitchen? And he flatly refuses. And my parents support him. I worry that my brother will also learn these things. He's younger to me, and I wish that when he grows up, his perspective is not similar to my parents. I'm sure many of us here in the room will relate to this. We see it in our families, we see it with our friends, and we see it at our workplace. It is these kind of dreams of the next generation that we are fighting for, to let the girls reach their full potential, to be what they dream to be. In Talentnomics, we believe that by bringing about gender parity at leadership levels, we'll be creating many more role models. We'll be changing the ecosystem where more women can rise to their full potential and leverage their talent. And this can be done only when we address the inequity at all levels, at parenting stage, during education, at work, and in society. And that's what we are going to deliberate on today. As we examine the world order today, we have seen significant strides in terms of progress towards women empowerment, towards gender equality. Many, many women have come up in all fields, whether it's politics, whether it is business, whether it's sports, arts. In every field, we see many more women there. But we are seeing persistent challenges for women to get there. Things have improved, but we have a long, long way to go. And we have to confront these challenges both within our families, in our education system, and in the society as large. So this is the agenda for today that we are going to discuss over the daytime. So closing gender gap is not just an aspiration, it is an imperative now for us to build a more peaceful, harmonious world. And I do believe that while government institutions have a major role to play in nudging us towards this equitable society, it is ultimately the responsibility of us all. It requires the commitment and engagement of every individual. And each of us can play a role, whether as a parent, as a policymaker, as a teacher, whichever role we hold in the society. We have a role to play in building a more equitable world. So let's seize the opportunity today and explore solutions, innovative solutions, policy changes, share best practices, and engage in meaningful dialogue, how we can pave the way towards parity. I want to again thank Cass, my friend here, Rabea, who's heading the Japan office of Konrad Adenauer Foundation. And we have been partnering for the last 4 years in offering this conference. This is the 4th year of our association. So thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much for dreaming with us to build a more equitable world. And over to you, Rabea.
Thank you very, very much, Ipsita. So, dear distinguished participants, dear Ipsita, dear honorable speakers, dear Christian Echle, I have brought my boss, the head of the Asia department of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation in Berlin, did join us for our conference, Raising the Men Quota, and will be on our last panel today. So, and also vote of thanks to our dear supporting teams, both on the Talentnomics side and on the KAS side, my own office. It is so wonderful to see you all in person and finally interact and engage face to face. That we finally meet really shows that we have been implementing those past Equiverse conferences in the 3 years. And if I look into this room, take up your note, we shine already. And this is exactly what I missed. You know, the panels we've had, they were all wonderful. But this mingling and engaging and frankly looking at your beautiful dresses and hearing you live and hearing your strong voices is something that we really, really missed. So I'm very glad we get to do this today. And it's time to say thank you to you for pulling us on board in the first place. We have put our heads together exactly 4 years ago, as Ipsita said, when we, as KAS, SOPAS, reached out to renowned think tanks and organizations in Asia, in the region, which could and would support our program and the 3 pillars we are working on. So SOPAS is a program centering on economic governance in Asia, and that is run by the Konrad Adenauer Foundation, which is really a political think tank that has 120, up to 120 offices around the world, and 21 of those being in Asia. We did slide our brochure in your preparation material, so if you want to look us up, please utilize the brochure. So what we do is we look at trade issues in the region, and we also support the discussions around the future of work and future of well-being, and we do strive for economic empowerment of women across Asia. So we are hence part of a growing movement of equality, recognition, promotion of women, and our work include various sub-regions in Asia, most notably so far, Southeast Asia and East Asia, where there is also a lot to be done. So we are very, very happy that through you, we get to stretch out to South Asia too. So in our publication and in our events, the entrepreneurs, the startups, the initiators, the founders, people like you, the creators, and the academics have a voice. And so also have lawmakers and politicians who are really in charge of suggesting policies and to put them into practice. And those policies then, only then can drive change. So KS in reality is a wonderful platform that brings together all those actors across countries and across regions. And I do hope that all the wonderful stories, the initiatives and the suggestions that we will hear today from our distinguished speakers lead to policy improvement, just as you said, Ipsita, and thus eventually lead to change. We keep hearing this, some say women cannot network, and damn, we don't. Your conference, Ipsita, is the best example that networks can be and are facilitated across regions, across countries, and KS, we are a gender-conscious organization ourselves, is really proud to be part of this. And while today we keep saying this marks our 4th conference on parity and equity, we all know how much more we need to do, how much more needs to be done for us and for our children, for that matter. So I'm very glad we're looking into these family issues. We stretch over education. So today we really touch upon the core issues of what we, all of us, can bring to the table. And as usual, so also in my panel, we will look at role model countries and initiatives and analyze their roads to success, which for sure are rocky or have been rocky. That is breaking cultural norms, traditions, changing educational standards, implementing quotas and equality laws. This is an uphill battle for all the front runners like yourself. So I look forward to our speakers' analysis to adopt such solutions where possible and compare those challenges and find unique answers to improve gender inequity in this region. And most of all, of course, I look forward to our audiences out there and our participants in here, engagement throughout all the panels, and as you are all a driver of change yourself. So on that note, I warmly welcome you all again, and I wish us all a good conference. Thank you.